My first night in the camp, suddenly there's this guy stumbling drunk and shivering like, because he had crashed his boat, fallen into the river, and then he had to carry on for about an hour at high speed in this boat, drunk and wet and freezing cold. And when that happened, I thought, wow, okay, that'll be the end of the drinking. This guy could have drowned. 2 guys drowned there in similar circumstances last year. But the very next day, they were on the vodka again, and he was saying to me, "Это не надо, надо работать, 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 понял?" It's like, yeah, I get it. The guy who was very good to me and sort of protected me up there, he said to me, "Man, go, just get out of here." I was like, go where? You know, we're in the middle of the bush, we're in the middle of Siberian wilderness. There are potentially bears out there. Where am I going to go? It's like, just go. And I picked up my suitcase and ran off into the trees, just ran into the forest. To see guys who had made like $100,000 in just over a week, that's pretty incredible. There was a guy in this team, part of the roof of this cabin collapsed. The leg was amputated, so he'd lost his leg. And they didn't give it a second thought. They would go into these deep, deep tunnels that would go 60 meters into the ground and would say to me, for example, like, "Oh, come in and have a look." And I'd get maybe 5 meters down, and I'm looking at the ceiling, and it's like soft. It's like soft as garden soil. You know, you can stick your fingers into it. You know, assuming that everything's going to be fine. And I was, in that case, I was just too scared to go in. I just didn't want to go in there. Through the entire 3-week period that I was there, this large team that I was with, they turned up a small, very bad quality section of a tusk. Well, it wasn't enough to cover even their expenses. Between these tusks coming out of the ground and being sold for $30,000 or $40,000, and those tusks making it to the Chinese market, the value will go from $30,000 US to $1 million plus. So between this point and that point, there's a lot of space for people to take their little cut. The most notable moment of the trip back was being on a small plane where the stewardess had put my suitcase. There was this big mound of like camouflage, and underneath this tarpaulin were a half a ton maybe of mammoth tusks. I just like whipped the tarpaulin back a bit. The moment I did that, the stewardess yelled at me like, I was getting my camera out to take a picture. She sort of knocked it out of my hands. I thought, you know, with all the photographs that I have on me now, I can't get into trouble with the police. You know, I risk losing all of that work. It was tough, but you know, every time I clicked the shutter, it was like, wow, that's exciting.